A week after the riot, Red Star completed the double, defeating Hajduk Split in the cup final with Panchev sealing the win. It would be the last trophy Pixie would hold aloft as Red Star captain. He left for Marseille after excelling at Italian 90. So Red Star had to launch their European campaign without their talisman. It began poorly.
Grasshoppers Zurich were an excellent team with a fantastic coach in Otmar Hitzfeld. And they surprised us at the Maracanã. They were excellent in that game. And I think we were overconfident. But then we went to Zurich and we played really well. We beat a very strong Grasshoppers side.
A 4-1 away win set up a second-round tie against Rangers.
Obviously, at Rangers at the time, we were dominating Scottish football, so we were used to winning. We were used to having the ball, most of the ball, when we played at home, no matter who we played. And I can remember in both games having been completely frustrated by the quality they had.
We were playing really well at the time. I'll never forget that match. We ended up beating Rangers 3-0 here in Belgrade.
There's a guy in midfield called Prosnecki. Technique second to none. Fantastic footballer. And I remember it was a damp, drizzly night over in Red Star Belgrade, and they just, pitch was slick, and they just passed us out of it, just made us look like second rate.
21-year-old Robert Prosnecki was unmistakably the star of the show, and he capped his performance with a stunning goal.
We had so many exceptional players. Najdovski, Belodedic, Stojanovic was a great goalkeeper. Jugovic, Mihailovic, Prosnecki, Savicevic. What a fantastic production line. And up front, me and Binic. Binic wasn't the most tactically aware, but he was quick and had a great eye for goal. We were a unit that worked very well.
We were 3-0 up, so when we went over to Glasgow, there was a lot less pressure on us in that second leg. We were dominant and showed we were much better than them.
The final pieces of the jigsaw were added when Vladimir Jugovic was recalled from loan and Sinisa Mihailovic was signed.
I had been for trials with Red Star at the age of 16. But I didn't get a contract. 3 or 4 years later, they paid Vojvodina $1 million Deutschmarks for me. Their manager at the time was Luko Petrovic, and he told the hierarchy that if they wanted to win the European Cup, they needed to get me and Jugovic. And he got us both.
Jugovic was a player who came through the ranks at Red Star. He had great technique and a fabulous engine. He also knew how to score a goal. Mihailovic was more of a battler, a strong runner with an exceptionally fierce shot. The thing that was really special in his career, here at Red Star and also at Lazio and Inter, were his phenomenal free kicks. They were something really special.
Mihailovic first represented Red Star in Europe at the Maracanã Stadium against East German champions Dinamo Dresden.
When we got out to the pitch, the noise from the fans doubled. I felt paralysed. I'd never played in front of 80,000 fans. I was looking all around the ground, and everywhere was packed.
We were stronger than them, technically superior to them, and we showed that in Belgrade.
I think that is when we first started to notice that we had a really special team and we gained confidence. Getting into the semi-finals of the European Cup, after those ties against Glasgow Rangers and Dinamo Dresden, we had showed Europe what we were about.
In Dresden, we won 2-1. Savicevic and I got the goals. And from that point, we started to think that we had a good chance to get to the final.
We knew that when you try to get to where we were trying to get to, at some stage, you're going to come up against a big team, one that had been champions of Europe 3 or 4 times.
The semi-final draw pitted Red Star against Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich are always an exceptional team. Throughout their entire history, they've had a strong side. So when we were drawn to play Bayern, we felt a bit tentative, a little bit scared.
Next up were Bayern Munich, who were unbeaten in 47 European home games. But in the 48th, Red Star Belgrade beat them, even though Bayern had such a great team.
We were brilliant in Munich. Me and Savicevic scored, and although it was 2-1, it could have been 3. I had a good chance, as did Robbie.
Bayern had a fiery welcome to the return leg in Belgrade.
Oh, it was like the Maracanã was on fire. It was packed. The atmosphere was electric.
They were a very good team with very experienced players. Effenberg, Laudrup, Augenthaler, all internationals. But when they went out and heard the fans, well, they were pale anyway, but they went even more pale. I wouldn't say out of fear, but it was because of the atmosphere created in the stadium. I can honestly say that that was the most important goal I scored in my entire career. Perhaps not the greatest, but it's certainly my favourite goal.
Our goalie Stojanovic made a mistake after Augenthaler's free kick, and it was 1-1. We began to panic a bit. After that, Bayern Munich took advantage, and Bender scored a good goal.
2-1, all square.
And then there was the incident where they hit the post as well. I was looking straight at it. The ball was going in. And then, just short of the line, it seemed to bobble off the grass and hit the post.
We had a bit of luck in the last minute, thanks to Augenthaler.
I saw Panchev in the area and tried to cross it towards him. Augenthaler tried to clear it, but miskicked and sliced the ball badly.
We had a bit of luck in the 90th minute with Augenthaler's own goal. But I believe to have luck in sports, you have to earn it. That moment in the last minute was fortunate. But as we'd been playing brilliantly that year, then we fully deserved all the luck we got.
Across Yugoslavia, Red Star fans rejoiced. But football soon became a minor concern. On Easter Sunday 1991 at Plitvice Lakes, the first fatal shots were fired in what would become a long and devastating war between Serbs and Croats.
The war hadn't fully spread yet. There were some problems that had started in Croatia and Slavonia. Those problems started at that time, but they weren't everywhere. We all hoped that the situation would calm down.
Nije side nekako se nadevavме дека ќе se smiri.
Ali nisam. Ja to toliko osjećao u tom trenutku.
I didn't feel it at the time because sports people look at things differently and don't get involved in political matters that might enable us to see what is happening. During that time, I lived completely normally. Maybe with all our success, we didn't see some things that might have been all around us.
For some, though, the horrors had personal impact. Mihailovic's hometown suffered terrible destruction.
It was very, very hard for us. At that time, a training session would last for maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours. And you trained and forgot about all your problems because you were thinking only about football. I would have preferred training to last 15 hours. So I would have had to concentrate on football for 15 hours and not just for 2, rather than spending 22 hours thinking about the war, worrying if your parents are still alive. It was very, very hard.
On the pitch, Red Star secured their 3rd league title in 4 seasons and went on to win the last ever Yugoslavian League championship the following year. And as the situation at home worsened, they prepared for the biggest match in the club's history.
We went 7 days before the game to fully prepare and focus on the match against Marseille, who were one of the toughest teams in Europe at that time.
Olympique Marseille was a seriously tough team. They had Boli, Desailly, Abdipele, Papin, Waddle.
Our coach told us that although he thought we were great players with exceptional technique, in this match we had to change the way that we played. We had to play cleverly for the result.
After 120 minutes of forgettable football, the 1991 European Cup final would be decided by penalties. Advantage Red Star.
I think that because of the rule that drawn Yugoslav league matches were decided by penalties, we were used to penalties, and that was a psychological advantage for us.
Each of us who stepped up to take a penalty had so many things going through our heads at that moment. If I miss, will it be the decider? Will the trophy come down to my kick?
Prosinecki, Binic, Belodedic and Mihailovic all scored from the spot. And after Stojanovic saved from Amoros...
An extremely difficult game. And although Marseille were on top for some of it, penalties are a lottery, and they missed one, but we'd all scored.
I had to take the last penalty, and it was very tough psychologically, as I was walking from the centre circle towards the penalty spot, and my mind was racing. I had so many thoughts in my head. Oh God, don't mess this up. I knew that millions of Red Star fans were desperate for that historic trophy, so I was nervous. But when I put the ball on the spot, I regained my composure, and thankfully everything went the way I wanted it to go.
Is that on the trophy it says, Red Star Belgrade won the 1991 European Cup. It really was. And I'm not talking about the celebrations or what happened because of this. But I can easily say that was one of the most amazing moments in my entire life.
And then a couple of my teammates came up and told me. They said, you know, you're the first...
Oh, it was phenomenal. Those sorts of receptions were reserved for our ex-president, Tito, when he was going from the airport to Belgrade. The streets were cleared when Red Star got to the airport. In front of the bus, we had a police escort, and then behind us we had police bikes.
And then we got to the stadium, and there were 100,000 people inside. For days afterwards, there were parties in the streets.
It was just amazing, so beautiful, and we were all so happy. But the following year, the trouble really started in Yugoslavia.
Red Star then defeated Colo-Colo from Chile to claim the Intercontinental Cup. But as Yugoslavia crumbled, so did the team. Prosinecki was sold to Real Madrid, Panchev to Inter, Mihailovic to Roma, Jugovic to Sampdoria, and Savicevic to AC Milan. The war decimated football in the region, and few expect any Balkan team ever again to shine so brightly. It is against this backdrop that night in Bari becomes even more extraordinary.